Everyone. Welcome to INTOUCH, a masterclass on school products powered by Brainwonders in partnership with Sportsvillage. And this fourth edition of Masterclass series will take you on a short journey of introducing you to 30 innovative school products selected from across India. In this masterclass, innovative products, informative content, and progressive ideas are being shared with you. We remain hopeful that this and forthcoming sessions will inspire you to take your school community to a new direction of development. My name is Namrata, and I will be your moderator for today. I represent India's largest counseling organization, Brainwonders. With 108 global centers, Brainwonders has been revolutionizing the face of academic guidance, career development, and personal growth via its US patented DMIT and online psychometric tests. Founded by Mr. Manish Naidu, over the past decade, Brainwonders has been nationally awarded on 7 different platforms, including recognition for being the most trusted and digitally innovative career counseling company. Excellence and passion is what Brainwonders strives for, and with that, let's begin today's session. Before I welcome today's speaker, I request all our audience to immerse themselves in the session and hold their questions, which will be addressed right after the session. I present to you today's speaker, Saumil Majmudar, who is the co-founder, CEO, and managing director of Sportzvillage. As a leader of Sportzvillage, Saumil Majmudar heads a youth sports organization that aims to get 100 million children to play. Saumil represented EduSports on India's leading social activism platform on television, Aamir Khan's Satyamev Jayate sports episode, where EduSports was chosen as a sustainable and scalable model of getting children to play. He has also received the CII Emerging Entrepreneur Award and has been recognized as one of the top 50 leaders influencing education by the education world. School boards, parents, forums, federations, brands, ministries, and regulatory bodies in his student days as well. Saumil is the core committee member of the CII National Committee on Sports and regularly builds the case for a more inclusive and fun-based approach to sports. And this happens at various forums involving school boards, parent forums, federations, ministries, and regulatory bodies as well. In his student days, Saumil was selected for the Maharashtra Badminton team and represented IIT Bombay and IIM Bangalore in football. Prior to starting Sportsvillage, Saumil was the founder and CEO of Q-Support, which was one of India's first remote tech support businesses, and worked with Wipro in the global R&D branch in the international marketing team. Saumil holds a BTech degree and is a distinguished service alumnus from the IIT Bombay, a PTDM from IIM Bangalore, a basic mountaineering degree from Nehru Institute of Mountaineering in Uttarkashi, and a black belt in karate. He continues to follow his passion for sports and outdoors through regular karate, Himalayan treks, badminton, football, and cricket. The topic for today's sessions is keeping children physically engaged and healthy during the school shutdown. Over to you, Mr. Majmudar.
Thank you, Namrata. Just sound check. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir, we can.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction and for the opportunity to share my thoughts here. Glad to be here. I think this topic about getting children to play and making sure that they play even during the pandemic, and the pandemic is kind of evolving every day as we speak. New strains are showing up. Different countries respond in different ways. It looks like this is going to be around a bit longer than we thought. But broadly, what I have as a very few set of slides is more around, little bit around the why should kids play, but I would assume that most of the people here are already convinced about why should they play. It's more about the how, that given the constraints, given the context, given the limitations, how do we still get kids to play? How do we and how do we kind of do that in a sustainable, scalable manner? So I'm going to just share a few slides. Number that can confirm that you can see the slides.
Yes, sir, the slide is visible at this moment. You can continue.
Thank you. So yeah, many of you would have known us in our earlier avatar as EduSports, where we obviously continue to work with schools today, and we've now kind of gone to an avatar called Sportsvillage with the tagline of Born to Play. And we're doing the same thing of getting kids to play and trying to get 100 million kids to play by working with schools, working with brands and convincing brands and corporate CSR donors to invest in getting more kids to play. Also working with governments and trying to set up our own academies so that kids, wherever they are at whatever stage they are in terms of the play and sport journey, get a chance to pursue their sports journey, whether it is to stay the same level and play for fun for life, or to pursue it further to play for excellence or play for scholarships. We're trying to make sure that Sportsvillage can provide that experience. As they say, it takes a village to raise a child. We are saying it takes a sports village to raise a sporting child. So coming to this topic, very broadly again, just please do this. You saw the video. We're trying to make the world a better place. We're getting more kids to play. We're hoping to get 100 million kids to play. We have three lines of broadly areas: schools. Schools are earlier known as EduSports. We're working with 1,500 schools. Sports academies, where we run academies across India and Dubai. And Sports XP, where we work with corporates and brands, and that's where we work with schools in getting brand supported programs in government and private schools to get kids to play as well. So let's come to the topic. So this is something everybody knows. It's just a reminder of the context of why we are here today, which is the pandemic has clearly changed the whole situation, specifically to kids in play. The ambiguity around when will schools open, how long will they stay open for, will they close again? We are seeing different behaviors in different parts of the world. We hope, and I believe this morning there was some notices about schools opening in different parts of the country. We hope that they open and stay open. But the reality is that the playgrounds have been closed all this while, and even now there is ambiguity around when the schools open, how will the playground be treated. But I'm part of one of the Delhi government curriculum reform committee, and one of the school leaders who was part of that one discussion said they did a survey, and kids called up and asked will they have PE and sport classes, and they were told no back in I think July, August. And the kids said no, if they don't have sports classes, they don't want to come to school. So clearly, there is some element of play, sports, interaction with friends, and which is a very important part of the overall education and development experience of kids. It's getting lost today. And therefore, kids have just lost access to play areas, play time, play friends. This is a little bit on the why. Think about WHO recommending physical activity. This is something people have known. I think with the COVID context, the whole importance of immunity has just become central to our lives, and there are enough studies correlating physical activity and fitness to improve immunity. And just as a nuance of that, moderate physical activity improves immunity. Very intense physical activity has shown to temporarily reduce immunity, and therefore the important stuff about balance and age appropriateness of the activities. And more people are asking the question of how can we have preventive healthcare as against curative, and therefore play and sports are clearly the only way in which kids can stay healthy and fit given the context of the urban and semi-urban places today. Now, on the related point has been this thing about screen time, and there's been this whole argument about kids are already spending enough time on the screens because of online classes. Now, what do we do? How do we get them to play if they stay at home? And in fact, UNESCO have raised a report recently about how there's good screen time and how we can use active screen time for kids to stay active, even in the constraint of the space and time. Academic classes can go online, so can physical education and sports. The important thing about good screen time, as against quote-unquote bad screen time, is it's good screen time if there is engagement with the people whom we are interacting with. There's more than more than half feet distance between the screen and the child, which is what happens when you do live online classes. And there's ongoing activity and not just consuming content and focusing on content from the screen. Therefore, there's a higher value of social involvement, physical activity, and engagement And in a survey, 79% of parents expressed comfort in letting their children participate in home-based sports and play events. There is some element of awareness that we need to have about good screen time and bad screen time. And a good screen time that keeps kids physically active, socially engaged, and positively emotionally connected is something worth thinking about. So what did we do? So all this while we're talking about why should they play, then so there are issues about immunity, issues about health, happiness, and immunity as specific benefits of these. But how do you do it? When the pandemic hit, clearly as Sportsvillage, we were also completely focused on physical, and then we said, okay, COVID or no COVID, kids need to play, and we came up with digital programs. One was what we call the Play at Home program, which is again a home-based physical education program implemented currently in 130 odd schools as a part of school's curriculum. So as they have other subjects, there's a PE and sports subject, and we execute that with age-appropriate physical activities designed for the limited space and time space of a home. We also have a B2C direct to consumer offering called Active Club, which are live interactive sessions where we have active play, active sport, active martial arts, yoga, and so on. And that's really been fairly interesting. Both of these, the response to both of these has been fairly interesting because kids have really liked it. We've seen improvement in attendance of the non-sports classes on those days when we had our classes. So pretty much what we used to see in the physical world, where whenever there's a PE program, PE class, there's a sports class, kids would want to come to school. We're seeing that in the online session as well, where if there's a session that we are doing, then on that day other classes attendance goes up as well. The way we designed the three pillars of this program are one is of course the live sessions. So there is a very important social connect, emotional connect. Kids get to interact with the trainers, and the curriculum and activity are designed uh, to be conducted at home within like a 5 feet by 5 feet space. Then there's a leaderboard. A leaderboard essentially creates this sense of gamification, this sense of assigning activities and tasks to other kids or group of kids, which kids can do themselves with minimal supervision. Therefore, you don't need a trainer. The points board shows where they are compared to their peer group. The peer group could be the same class, say groups within the class, and these are updated regularly. And third is access to online content, which are videos, physical activity, exercises, reference videos, an activity calendar by which the child or the parent supporting a child can do it himself or herself. So if you look at these three pillars, the range is from a completely self-help to a gamified, uh, adult-driven or adult-supported activity to a completely live interactive activities. So these three provided the whole range of stuff that different schools or kids could engage with based on time availability, based on budget availability, or different ways in which existing PE teachers or parents or kids could use these tools and platforms so that they could stay active, COVID or no COVID. So I think there are two key important pieces to this report. One is the learning of play, which is the classic learning of the fitness, learning of skills, assessment of children, their fitness and skills, and therefore assessment of progress, which is one important part of the whole play and sports experience. And the second is learning through play and sports. Learning through play and sports of around support learning of personality development and soft skills, but also how do we support academic outcomes through our programs. So we have products like sports learning and more. We have race around India by which we are able to integrate uh, general knowledge and academic outcomes through a fun-based program. So post-COVID, I think this is really the core that the home is the new playground, and I think we need to acknowledge as the ambiguity around COVID continues. There are two, three scenarios that are going to play out. One, of course, that everything goes away, and I wish it goes away tomorrow morning, and the physical world comes back, and we're all out there and doing what we used to do earlier. If that happens, then obviously the kids will play in the playground, and that's fantastic. But in the pre-COVID world, there have always been situations where kids, one, either did not get enough time to play,
or two, there were kids who were not as good in play or fitness and skills as other kids, and therefore the questions we were asked was, okay, so how are we going to make sure that the kids who are not so good in fitness skills catch up? And now, with the home as a playground, we have the opportunity to have a physical playground, physical experience, and a digital leaderboard enabled experience by which the child can learn significant skills of fitness at home. If God forbid COVID continues and we continue to have what we are calling a blended, either online sessions continuing or blended, then in any case, home will be the new playground. Therefore, the embracing home as a new playground provides the right, I think, the blend between combining the adult objectives of achieving learning outcomes with kids' objectives of fun and engagement and play and learning through play and learning off play can provide the right common platform where both adult and kids' objectives can be met in a fun and engaging way so that we can get into the future, get out of COVID, and get back to learning and have fun in the process. So with that, that's all I had to share. Happy to answer any questions if anybody has. Uh, Back to you, Namit.
Thank you so much for taking us through your work and how letting us know how impactful it is, and more importantly, how important it is for our upcoming generation. We actually do have some questions already lined up for you, because I think it was quite an engaging session that you had just conducted. To our audience, definitely you can ask more questions. You can use the chat box, you can use the activity section, you can also raise your hand and ask the question. Any one of the three mediums, I'm sure sir will be happy to entertain the questions. So we proceed with our first question meanwhile, asked by Dr. Yogita Sarwar, who is asking, is there any instant feedback about the activity available for?
Uh, Sorry. Instant feedback about the activities. No, at this point, we haven't gone down the calories burned category. A lot of, but that's an important question. Thanks for asking. I think it's very important to distinguish between why kids play and why adults play. Very often, adults, when they play, they need a lot of these details about calories burned and weight loss and so on and so forth. Kids play for fun. Remind yourself all the time when you were a kid. I don't think most of us grew up worrying about how many steps you covered in a day or how many calories you got. So it's a very important distinction, and it's very important that we keep the distinction between what is meant for adults and what is meant for kids. So our focus has been on fun and engagement. And if kids have fun and if they engage, then they move and the calories will happen, the fitness will happen.
Thank you, sir. Nilesh Patil has actually raised the hand. Nilesh, sir, you are on mute. Can you present your question after unmuting yourself?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. So my question is, even we do conduct a online session in our school, but sometimes it's happened the students' engagement is very less. So what we can do in that case? Because we tried everything and we actually did many activities, but still we are facing this issue. So can you please?
So I don't know exactly what you did, but I will tell you some of the stuff that has worked for us. And I guess this is at one level, whatever has worked in the physical world does work in the online world, and so then we'll do something else as well. So the broad structure that we used to have in the pre-COVID physical world, when we work with schools and they're running a PE program in schools, would be essentially focusing on, first of all, fun. And but the important thing is how we define fun. Fun is just not kids laughing and running around and parties happening. Right? Fun is when you are fully involved in the activity. Fun is when you are deeply connected to the people you're doing it with, and fun is when you are pushed slightly beyond the boundaries.
Okay.
Not too much, then it gets stressful. Not too little, it gets boring. So when these three
Yeah.
things happen, then you have fun, and that's true for any activity, not just play. It's true for a project you're doing. It's true for a corporate work. True for everything. Right? Fun is not partying necessarily. So that's one important part of fun, of engagement, connection with people, and pushing us beyond the boundaries. Then it's about on defining of just the boundaries where the age appropriate test comes in. Is activity age appropriate? Is activity skill appropriate for the child's skill level? Are there enough ways in which the activity encourages connection with the rest of the group, or the child being left out? So, are you assessing progress? And how is the assessment democratic? Which means if you are good in cricket and I'm not good in cricket, obviously I'm going to get a D and you're going to get an A. But what should be the way to assess a sports or play program? And the way we have been using one piece is being to assess fitness action. We have data now for almost 3.5 lakh kids across now 10 years on longitudinally year on year how kids are getting fitter or not. And that gives a very individual report card to the parents saying, here's how the child is getting fitter, and here's where the child is not fit, for example. And that creates a very personalized reaction to say, okay, my child is a D in this particular, let's say, aerobic capacity or anaerobic capacity. And now what do I do? So, age appropriate, assessment, engagement with multiple kids around, and delivering that in the online version is really a challenge. And we've been very fortunate to have a great bunch of trainers who are able to deliver and engage with kids even in this kind of a format. The important thing we found was that kids are really wanting to play. What they need is somebody who's willing to make the effort to understand what they need, to engage with them and still find a solution. The easiest thing to do is to say, oh, you have no space, we have no time, kids will not play because it's COVID, tough luck. I think it's incumbent on adult society and this group definitely clearly is one of those secular enlightened ones. It's for adult society to say, COVID or no COVID, we need to get a pitch to play. And whether I have a small space, a small hall, or I have a large ground, or I have a large terrace, I will find a solution. Solutions are available. People like us in our own small way have come up with some solutions using our digital platforms, our live interactive classes, our leaderboard, our play at home programs, and we are now obviously trying to convince school leaders that look, we do have a solution. Whether you use our solution as Sportsvillage or you do it yourself, the solution is there and it works. Now let's make sure that kids are not deprived of playing anymore.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. I got the point. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we have some time for more questions. So if anybody has any questions, you can proceed with presenting them. I do have a question of my own, sir, if you will allow. I wanted to ask that obviously, I mean, there's a very big, everlasting debate that always goes on, between online games and computer and playing in the foot, let's say a ground and everything. But then, sir, we have also come across situations where actually, I mean, COVID, setting aside COVID, I'll say, um, where students, or let's say, the provision for actually playing in the ground or a park or, anywhere is not actually very much encouraged by a lot of neighborhoods, don't play here, don't cause a lot of noise here, don't break things. I mean, and of course, nobody breaks things on purpose, but then it will happen in case anybody is playing, right? That is what play is supposed to do. So how do we balance that out in terms of the parents or the neighborhood or the societies that we thrive in?
No, that's a great question, and I think one of the things that this exposes is that in dealing with the adults around them, kids need help. When there is this cranky uncle or cranky aunt in the neighborhood who shouts and makes sure kids don't play, and all of us have had these as we growing up. And maybe that time we had more space and time around us, but now kids don't have options. So I think first thing I would say is, as an adult, help the kids negotiate with the other adults around them. The kids are not able to negotiate with them, and sometimes if a child stands up and says something, they are seen as rude. They're branded as disrespectful, whereas they are just asking, saying, "Okay, where should I play?" Why? So that's one important piece. The second is solutions are available. Solutions that help reduce noise. Solutions that make the best use of space. In fact, in the
a complex that I live in, we had a very similar problem. Senior citizens complaining about kids playing, the ball going here and there, somebody getting hurt, and so on. And the solution was a very simple cage, a net, which kind of just enclosed the whole space playing area. And earlier than the net, there was a metal net, so the ball would hit and it would make noise. We replaced that with the cricket nets, fish net kind of stuff. So it didn't make noise anymore. And we covered the top, so the ball didn't go out. So now kids are playing inside with like maybe 5% of the noise they used to make earlier. And all is well. So, and the solution didn't take, frankly, Namrita, didn't take too much time, nor did it take too much money. It took attention. Somebody had to say, look, kids need to play, and stopping them play is not the answer. I, as an adult, need to help them solve the problem of, okay, if noise is the problem, here's the answer. If space is the problem, here's the answer. And adults can solve the problem, solutions are available.
I think it's just a matter of perspective then, right? All right. So I think that beautifully answers my questions, and thank you for that. I would also like to bring about the point that whenever we talk about play, or whenever we talk about sports or anything like that, we are not actually talking about a person who has to build a career in sports. We are talking about a lot of life skills, a lot of soft skills, a lot of social skills that the person is developing, and of course, health being, I think health is wealth is something that we have been taught since childhood, So let us practice that. All right. So yes, I think. All right. So all right. So I think that is it with the questions. Is there any final question that anybody would like to present? Yes. Yes. So, Mr. Nageshwara Rao is asking, brings with a lot of happiness and joy. Why not academics? For the disturbance, sir? Yes, you can proceed.
So, okay, I'm going to assume I understood his question to be, if play gives fun and joy, why isn't academics give fun and joy? I think that's the question. Mr. Rao, please correct me if I understood your question incorrectly. But I think that's a great question actually, and I think it's a larger question about the way our kids are being taught, and maybe some of us have been taught as well as we're growing up. And remember that one teacher whose class you would look forward to, and other teachers whose class you would not look forward to. Something was happening in that class, and what that something, if I may submit, was she was playing with you. She was playing with your excitement. She was intriguing you. He or she was presenting the class in a certain way, was helping you stay connected. It was not so far ahead of you that you couldn't understand. It was not so low that you're getting bored. So I think those teachers whose classes all of us remember and enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they brought in this notion of playfulness into the classroom. And I think academics has got a bad name because we have focused so much on a one-way transfer of information and have not focused on fun and engagement. Adult society has been focused on cramming kids with information. Kids want fun and engagement. Kids learn when they're having fun and they're engaged. I was saying, if play is fun and engaging and academics is not, that was the question. I think the question is, what is there in play that is fun and engaging? It's because very often it is child-driven, very often it is peer-led, very often it is age-appropriate, it is slightly above your limits, you're connected to people around you. Now look at this and look at a classroom where you're not necessarily connected to people around you because it's very one-to-many. So there's a lot of learnings that you can bring in from play into the classroom. So one is you extend the classroom into the playground because you bring elements of age appropriateness, structure of each child. The other is to bring the play into the classroom so that you are able to engage kids, make sure they have fun, they look forward to the class. And the way to do it is to find a way to get kids connected. And there's a lot of learning that you can have from playing that can be used in academic design. And if you think about the recent, lot of stuff that's happening around gamification and fun is actually bringing in those pieces.
Absolutely, sir. I absolutely 100% agree. I think you talk about things like even math or science, and we always look back to our practical classes where things were done in a demonstration or things were done, in an interactive way, or those off days when our English teacher used to show us a movie instead of, let's say, just
Yeah.
reading out something from the book, or have us enact a drama rather than learn a drama or a play. So I think even we at Brainwonders, we counsel a lot of students, and what we have understood is that it is more about the learning style and delivery of certain content or forcefully learn something. Another thing I think what we have to understand is that it is not play and academics are not different. Education is a very holistic word. Education is anything that has to do with learning and growth, right? And a lot of times we think that no, something has to be on the playground only, then it constitutes as play. But you have science parks as well,
Yeah,
and
yeah, no,
it is
that's a great
nothing
point.
that has to be enclosed in four walls. Also, I think just to add to it, I think a lot of times play is seen as something that will be done. Let's say after you are done with, let's say, 5 lectures, or after you are done with your homework, or if everything else is going on track. Anything that is forbidden, anything that is optional, is something that anybody would get attracted to. Why a child? Even us, right? If I tell you that tomorrow you cannot go out because it's lockdown, everybody suddenly wants to go out because it's lockdown. So, because it is something that is often seen as an optional part of a curriculum, unfortunately, it is seen as something that no, this is my free time. This is something that I want to do.
Yeah.
That the onus of that falls on the people like us, people like you and me, because we are the curriculum designers per se. We are the enforcers of that curriculum, not the child. Like sir
No, but,
very right
but,
said.
but, but I think the important question to ask is even today, you can't set up a school without a PE teacher. Your school
Yes,
has to have
yes.
physical education class. Therefore, somebody in their wisdom has designed play to be mandatory part of the child's experience.
Yes. So, sir, actually, I think very, very rightly, as you said, that in a curriculum, it is a mandatory experience, right? And how we deliver that experience is also important. So, I have personally, like, we work with so many schools, and we have had, students who think that play is a part of their curriculum, just because of the way that game is being taught. It is being taught, and no, you have to run 10 miles, you have to run 10 kilometers. No, not necessarily. Some people, I think you are the perfect example of somebody who has balanced play and academics very, very well. So I think it is important that we realize that yes, it is not, neither of those are optional. We should give that exposure to students, have them choose, and we should make that experience a very engaging one and something that a child can build upon.
So, the question we need to ask ourselves, all of us who are on this forum have learned biology, learned geography, learned civics, learned history. I'm betting not many of us are biologists, historians, chemists, or
Correct.
geologists. But we learned,
Absolutely.
right? So I think it's important to think of it as part of education and not only do it for a career. I saw one question about senior kids.
Senior classes, yes.
That's a great question. I think younger kids till class 4 or 5 are instinctively wanting to play, and they only care whether they don't really care whether Namrata auntie has played for the country or not. They just want her to be there and smiling and playing with them, and they're fine. But after a certain age, typically sixth and above, is where they need to make sure Namrata auntie can kick the ball very well, or she's played for the country, and then they'll respect her. Otherwise, they'll kind of not really respect the teacher, and that's the reality. And maybe they're looking for, are you good enough to teach me, kind of stuff, right? And so what we have found is twofold. One is to add an element of choice, which is far more important after sixth grade in that whole program design. Whereas till the fifth grade, it is more about what does the teacher want to do, and they are very happy to follow. I'm using a broad generalization. That peer
Right.
learning, especially in the middle school and upwards, peer learning, we have a program called Miles, where let's say if you are a good basketball player and I am relatively to the class a good football player, then we support you as a student to teach the rest of the class basketball, the rest of the class, and I get supported by using our framework and some tools and techniques to teach football because I am better at football to the same my friends. So suddenly the value of the peer learning, the value of the engagement is very different, and the adults around the children support the peer learning as against instruct. So that plus of course design around adequate match plays, adequate challenging experiences is something that we found useful sixth and upwards senior kids. On a specifically girls after a certain age, there is a serious challenge for a variety of reasons. Some of the reasons are around social context. Some of the reasons are around how people view girls playing after a certain age. But frankly, some of the issues are really very simple. Like one big issue is the way uniforms are designed. And a lot of girls don't feel comfortable playing because the school uniform is not amenable to play in its full element. Now that's a very simple problem to solve, right? To just have school uniforms on a play day, which is more amenable for girls to play. The second reason we found girls don't play is because very often there is this notion of, are people watching? We're not so good. Will I embarrass myself? So just moving them to a different area where nobody's watching, and they start playing. So some of the answers are not really difficult, but they just need attention and staying with the problem of saying, look, whatever the constraints, will get kids to play, and get kids to play, get all kids to play, boys, girls, the sporty boys, the not so sporty boys, the special kids. There's a whole rainbow of kids in our schools, and our programs, and a lot of time, unfortunately, sports programs are designed for only the sporty kids. Now, in a school of 1,000 kids, the school team will be 40 kids. So what are the remaining 960 kids doing? Which means there's a 96% chance that your child is getting nothing. But the 40 kids are taking the sports attention. So I think it's important to design the sports program which is inclusive for the entire rainbow of the range of kids that are there. Sporty, non-sporty, healthy, not healthy, skilled, not skilled, boys, girls, special kids. I can talk about this for a long time. Thank you.
Absolutely agreed, sir. I think it is more of like how you said, while answering my question also, it is more about the perspective that the society holds and not the children that would be the solution to this. With that, I would like to end today's session. I think it has been quite an engaging and interactive session for all of us today. A lot of things that we learned today, a lot of awakening moments for all of us today. And for that, we thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, thank you to our lovely participants for being such an active and encouraging crowd today. We will meet again tomorrow at 5 o'clock sharp. Have a great evening.